Hello, my darlings, and welcome back to Conversations with My Higher Self. How are you? Today, we're going to talk about tattoos. I'm going to give you some of the spiritual and energetic pros and cons, and that's it. That's really the agenda for today. Before we dive in, a couple of housekeeping items. I wholeheartedly invite you to come and meditate with me on our Sacred Universe podcast. That is a podcast that is extremely heart-felt, right? Filled with heart energies. It is a very healing space, and we do journeys over there. We do guided meditations every week. So I do sincerely hope that you join us. It's a growing community. It's a beautiful community. And you're the only missing part, if we're being very honest. Secondarily, come check out my book if you haven't already. If you have, thank you so much. You know who you are, and you're a little rock star. And I thank you for all your kind words and all the reviews. But the book is called 72 Keys to Manifestation, or An Ancient Path of a Modern Day Alchemist. It is available on Amazon, Audible, and Kindle in pretty much any format imaginable. And it is a journey through 72 days. So each key is meant to be consumed in one day. And each key contains a simple, ancient energy wisdom that can help you manifest the life that you want. The book is filled with energy practices. You guys know me. I hate just theoretical things, right? So I would always take you all the way. I will always give you practical suggestions on how you can implement all the learnings from the book into your daily life. Because ultimately, manifestation is about creating things in the physical through energy, right? And that is precisely what that book teaches. That's it. Let's dive into tattoos. There is some confusion on this planet around tattoos. Tattoos are pretty much banned by a lot of major religions, like a lot of Abrahamic religions. And so I think that they have been perceived as something almost like satanic and unclean and unholy. And, a lot of the people who are kind of like those rebellious people who are like anti-establishment are going to cover themselves in tattoos. It's almost like a slap in the face to the status quo. And that's why we love the rebels, right? But today I figured I will dispel certain myths around tattoos, because there are some actually. And hopefully if you already have tattoos, or if you have been considering getting a tattoo, this is going to be a helpful little tidbit of information for you. All right. Not every tattoo is created equal. Let's start there. In the same way that you have different types of content, right? Not every single blog is created equal. Not every single movie is created equal. Not every single tattoo is created equal. Every tattoo is an energy portal. Every tattoo is an energy imprint that you essentially create upon your body. Now, that imprint never goes away. I know there are ways to visibly get rid of tattoos or transform them into new tattoos, like, give a tattoo a second life. I will tell you that no matter how many tattoos you put one on top of the other, it's like putting one portal over the other. Your tattoo never truly does disappear. So that energetic imprint, even if the physicality of the tattoo is gone, like, I don't want to go into morbid territory, but let's say that you were in a fire and your shoulder burned really badly, and technically, visibly, there's no tattoo there after the fire. And again, pardon me for this example, but I just wanted it to be dramatic enough that you get to what degree it still stays. And so visibly, there's like nowhere close to a tattoo on your shoulder, but there is an energetic imprint of it for the duration of your incarnation until your physical body disintegrates. When you die, essentially, this tattoo is going to be on your body. That's that. So anytime you choose to get a tattoo, what you are doing is essentially you are opening the gates into the world of energy, into the world of spirit. Does that mean it's always bad spirit? No, of course not. But you are opening a portal, right? Tattoos are almost like sigils. So sigils, and by the way, there's like this whole compartment within magic and the studies of magic that is called sigil magic. Sigils are symbols, and they're quite sophisticated visual symbols that represent different energies. Pretty much every major deity has a symbolic representation. There are good energies that have sigils. There are bad energies that have sigils. There are neutral energies that have sigils. And that is, important to understand. So since the ancient times of this planet, different secret orders, right? Different priest and priestesses type orders, a lot of spiritual orders used sigils. They used sigils in order to be connected as a group. So there would usually be, if it's an order or like some type of spiritual group or gathering, or like a brotherhood or a sacred sisterhood, if you will, very often they would create a sigil or a tattoo that they would put on their bodies to first almost like serve as a physical representation of a sacred vow that you take once you join a particular brotherhood or sisterhood, right? That bond that stays with you, that sacred vow in physical format. And essentially they unite themselves. They unite and connect themselves through that symbol. So not only does that symbol represent a gateway or a portal into a particular kind of energy, but it also intertwines the people of the group together. That is why, by the way, if you choose to get the same tattoo with another human, I don't know whether that is your loved one or a girlfriend, you're like, hi, let's go get butterflies on our feet. You are creating a portal, not just into the butterfly kingdom, if you know what I mean, but you're also creating an energy portal between you and a friend that's going to bear the same symbol as you. That is almost like claiming somebody as a part of your tribe. Just be aware of that, because you may stop being friends with that person, or you may divorce somebody that you made the tattoo with, but that energetic portal is going to stay with you. I hate to say it. And while you can cut cords with your ex, it's impossible to cut cords that come in a format of a sigil / a tattoo. And so that is why these old, shall we say, ancient sacred orders made, quote unquote, or encouraged their initiates to share this symbol. Because again, they knew that it was an unbreakable vow, so to say. And by the way, this is also that enabled the telepathy in the groups to a large degree, right? Once you're connected by that symbol, you are so intrinsically and energetically connected to the people with the same symbol that it's essentially like you start sharing a mental space, you start sharing an emotional space, you could start sharing dreams, etc. So it's a very close-knit bond. Sigils, apart from, being used to bring the groups together, were often used in devotional ceremonies. In certain, let's say if you, so like I said, every deity, every god or goddess had their sigil, right? So very often the priestesses of that god or goddess would bear that mark, right? To signify them as chosen, but also to create that portal and connection between them and the deity that they served. In ancient, shall we say more, I don't want to call it witchy, but I also want to call it Wiccan. There's no right word to use it, but let's and I don't want to call it shamanic, but let's call it earth magic. Actually, that's a good way. So there used to be a lot of groups that practiced earth magic or cosmic magic as well. And very often they would have sigils that would represent things like the moon, or they would represent things like, certain energies, like one of the four elements, for instance, or all of the four elements. They may have, spirals to signify evolution, right? So like a lot of the magical orders of the past or gatherings would have different markings on their flesh to signify either their source of power, right? Or an object that they're devoted to. Now, again, this, whatever you choose to use as a tattoo, and that's where I'm starting to bring it home, right? Because the point where I was going with the sigil story is this. Tattoos, essentially, have been used by humanity from the dawn of times. They have been used very often in sacred ceremony. They have been used in the occult. They have been used in spirituality for ages, you guys. So this is not a new invention by any stretch of imagination. A tattoo in and of itself is a tool, just like a knife is a tool, right? A knife can cut, but a knife can also make you food. It is just a tool. Are tattoos good or bad? Neither, right? First and foremost. They're definitely not satanic in nature, but they are portals, just like mirrors, just like paintings. So let us just call things as they are. It is not just a part of your body that is, it's just not like a picture. It is a portal. So first things first, let's make sure that we give the credit where it's due. That tattoo that you put on your body when you were drunk and you were 16 is a portal. What do we know about magic portals? Magic portals contain the energies. In this particular case, the magic portal of the tattoo contains two energies. Energy number one is the energy of the symbol that the tattoo is or represents, which is kind of obvious. Duh. Like if you have a skull versus the sun, those are going to be very different portals, right? One takes you through to death. The other one takes you through to life or source consciousness, right? That one is obvious. There is a second part to the magic of this energy portal that is perhaps lesser known and not as well. Let's just say it's not in the forefront of human collective consciousness. The second aspect of that portal and what impacts its quality and where it goes actually is the person who gave it to you. So the tattoo artist. In the days of old, when people were a lot more intentional with energy, before getting a sigil imprinted upon your body or placed on your body, the person, right, the being who was going to give you that tattoo usually went into fasting or some kind of cleanse for up to, weeks before they would feel pristine enough, clean enough in order to deliver that tattoo. In Buddhism right now, actually, Buddhism is one of those, I don't want to call it a religion, but okay, spiritual movement that does not shun tattoos. And very often, in this monasteries, Buddhist monasteries, sometimes the monks would actually give you the tattoo. And that almost signifies very often a particular level of initiation. But it is the purity of the hand that gives you the tattoo that often determines how pure the portal is, right? Because it is, in this case, the tattoo artist is like a painter. When a painter paints a painting, they imprint almost like a part of their soul into the painting, a part of their life force. When a tattoo artist undertakes a tattoo, they impart their life force, they imbue that life force into the tattoo. Now, unfortunately, and that is where, by the way, tattoos start getting a bad rep that is very much deserved. A lot of the tattoo parlors are not what you would call spiritual places. A lot of tattoo artists are not what you would call spiritual people in some ways. And again, please forgive me that I even said that, because this is, it's such a gross, it's almost like a negligent statement, even saying that, because the last thing I want is to offend people and be overgeneralized, right? There are some amazingly pure tattoo artists, but because that it is a subculture, it is a little bit of a rebellious culture, right? Like right now, it's not treated as a sacred act. Tattoo, in the process of applying one or getting one, is not a sacred act. It's not a baptism, if you know what I mean. Nowhere close. It's not a sacrament. Nowhere close, right? It's not a meditation. Nowhere close. It is a job that people do for pay. B, there's absolutely no cleansing ritual usually that takes place prior, right? So whatever that, your tattoo artist, let's say that they're really worried, or somebody in their family died, or they're really worried about money that day when they're giving you the tattoo, or they just broke up with their, the love of their life, or their mother got diagnosed with some terrible disease. That energy is going to be inside of your body. And I hate to say this, but it is true. Because with your blood, right, in order to get the tattoos, with pain, right? So that pain and that blood Not a lot of blood, but there is some during the process, right? It opens up, like your defense mechanisms go really, really down in the process of getting a tattoo. And you become extremely absorbent for the energies. Like you become like a sponge. You absorb everything in your vicinity and beyond. So yeah, make no mistake, you're going to absorb what your tattoo artist, your tattoo master is feeling, thinking, and experiencing as this is happening, right? So just be aware of that. That is the drawback of the tattoo. Also, don't underestimate where the portal can take you. I find it actually really, really hard for people sometimes, or I find that looking at the human collective. For a lot of people, it's hard to say if a symbol has, a positive, shall we say, connection or a negative. And that's really weird, right? Because technically things should be a little bit more black and white, but the lines have gotten blurry. And by the way, the same symbol drawn a little bit differently could be a very different symbol. What do I mean by that? I'm trying to figure out how to give you an example. You could have a cat or a panther that takes you to the light as a tattoo, or you can have a panther or a cat that takes you to the darkness. There. So just because you decided to use a particular symbol and it seems like it's neutral or whatever, doesn't mean that the portal that's actually going to be created when you get that tattoo is a portal for light. I actually really, really strongly recommend that you use a pendulum. Like once you have selected a design, take a pendulum. For those of you that, don't use a pendulum yet, do yourself a favor and buy yourself one. It's really, really cheap. So essentially you would just place the pendulum over that image of the tattoo that you have selected. If it's rotating clockwise, that is the portal to the lighter realms. If it is rotating counterclockwise, it's the portal to the darker realms. What does it mean if you choose to consciously put an image on your body that is a portal to the darker realms? What does this mean? A lot of people do that thinking that they're going to get strength and power. And yes, in some case, that may be the case. Once you open the portal to the darker side, sometimes you get things that come with interacting with the dark side. But I will tell you this, anytime there is an energy exchange between you and the darker side, what you have to pay is always higher than what you get in return. The payment is never in your favor, you guys. Never. Not with the dark side, it's not. So just be careful what you choose to open the portal to. No judgment. If you choose to do the portal to the dark side, that is your birthright. Birthright. This is a planet of free will. You get to do whatever you choose, however many times you choose. Nobody's here to tell you no. You just need to understand the consequences of your actions, right? And be okay with them, because they're going to hit you like a bus, whether you like it or not. Now, in some of the native tribal cultures, let's maybe look at the positive sides of tattoos, right? And how you can leverage them in order to get something that you don't yet have. Very often in tribal cultures, if a particular warrior wanted the strength of an animal, they would get a tattoo of that animal. They would get an imprint of that animal on their body, right? Bears, eagles, you name it. Dragons, right? And even still today, that still works, right? So be cognizant that when you tattoo an animal on your body, it is an invitation from you, a very conscious invitation for that animal to become your spirit animal or totem animal. So an animal that is going to interact with you, and there's going to be an energy exchange between you and that animal for the duration of your life. So yes, the bear may impart its strength. The owl may impart its wisdom. Let's say the snake, again, may impart its wisdom and cunning. But there should be an exchange, right? And there usually is, right? So know that when you are putting an animal on your skin, it is almost like an open door. The problem is, unless there is a very specific energetic contract that you create with that animal, where they specifically communicate to you, that animal specifically communicates to you what the payback is or what you are going to have to pay for that protection or for that particular quality. Unless that is extremely, very well written and specified prior to getting the tattoo, what's going to happen is that animal reserves the right to take of you what it will in exchange for its services. And it is always going to be done in a way that is equitable, shall we say, fair, right? It's a give and take, and it cannot be, you give me $100 and I give you $1 back. That is not a fair exchange. So if you're getting 100 points of strength, you're going to have to give 100 points of something else back. And again, these contracts can be tricky because the totem animal can take things from you. They could take a year of your life. And again, don't want to scare you. This is not a fear-mongering type of episode. But it would be considered a fair exchange in energy. If a bear gives you strength, for instance, and you're a fighter, like let's say you're a boxer, and you really want that strength, but the bear may take something in return, and life, force is a very equitable exchange. So that's around putting the bear. Same thing if you're putting a planet on there, or like a moon. A lot of people have moon tattoos. A lot of people have sun tattoos. Some people have other planets, like, Saturn and Jupiter. You are opening a portal into that planet. This means that that planet energy is going to impact you 10 times more than it would impact an average human being. Now, as you well know, planets have good days and bad days, so to say, just like people. They are on their personal arcs. They are on their personal journeys. Just be aware that you are opening yourself up to the interaction with that planet or cosmic body, whatever you want to call it, on a daily basis. So the new moons, if you have a moon tattooed on your shoulder, the new moons are really going to impact you, and so will the full moons. Like, it is kind of like signing a one-on-one contract with the moon, being in service of the moon, right? And again, the moon in this particular case is very volatile, right? So essentially what you're signing up for is a very volatile energy. And that's another thing. So the tattoo is both a portal, but it is additive to your auric field. How do I explain this? Imagine you're making a soup, and in your soup, there are a lot of energies. And then you decide to put one big chunky potato without cutting it up in the soup. All of a sudden, the water level in the soup changes, and everything kind of changes about the soup. When you are placing a tattoo on your body, the energetic soup of you changes. Without the tattoo, you vibrate at a certain level. Once you place the tattoo, 100% of the time you change your own vibration. Better make sure you are changing it for the better instead of the worse, because either one is possible. Again, right? Like, trust your pendulum, work with the pendulum, see, if this is additive, a movement in the right direction or a movement in the wrong direction. Because usually it's not neutral. You're going to be either a winner or a loser in this instance, right? Again, a tattoo is not a toy. It is not a piece of art even. It is not a symbol of your rebellious spirit. Or it is, but that's not the only thing that it is. It is an energy entity that has its own life. I hate to say it. It has its own consciousness to some degree, right? It doesn't have a soul that inhabits it, but it has a consciousness, it has a vibration, and it will shift your vibrations. There is another thing that I want to say specifically around tattooing the words like love and little hearts on your body. When you're tattooing the word love or, any of these amorous symbols on your body, one thing you have to factor in, anytime you get a tattoo, it comes with physical pain, to the best of my knowledge. Different degrees of pain, but still. Your physical body is extremely cognizant of that pain, obviously. So one thing that you're training your body to feel is this pain. When love, the word love or the little heart is being put on your body. So a very likely outcome, actually, of tattooing that frequency of your body is not the vibration of love. but the vibration that I would define as love equals pain. Love equals pain. Because as you're tattooing love on your shoulder or anywhere else, what your body feels is pain. So you're training your body to start associating love with extreme physical discomfort. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think you're going to experience more love in your life, or less love in your life? And that's my point. You're going to experience less love in your life because your physical body also needs to be factored into this whole conundrum. Your physical body matters. And it can repel things like nobody's business from your life, right? So honestly, if I were you, I would not tattoo anything that's love related anywhere on your body in case it backfires. I would also not necessarily, if I were you, tattoo the name of your loved one because you really want it so much. Here's the deal. I mean, beyond the obvious, right? People do fall out of love all the time. Relationships end all the time. Just beware that energetic portal, you're not going to be able to close. You can't cut those cords. That person is out of your life again. You're stuck with them forever. You're stuck with them forever. There is an energy portal. And by the way, subconsciously, they can take your energy. That is like saying, hey, my resource, like if I'm tattooing the name of my loved one, whatever, here, anywhere, on my body, on my wrist, whatever, it is like an invitation that I give. It's like I open my door open. I open my door so that that person whose name is on my body can walk into my auric field, so to say, tap into my resource and take as much as they need for as long as they need. Okay, cool. If you guys are okay with being like a spiritual donor like that, go for it. But you don't know how much energy that person subconsciously will take from you. They can take 100% of your resource. And then what are you going to do? Not fun. Another thing I will tell you is this. I mean, again, a part of me really loves tattoos. I really do. I do think that there is something extremely magical about tattoos. I also know that they can be quite healing. Like if there is if there is an energy that you really miss and you really need, or like a reminder, tattooing that reminder on your body is great. Because again, it's going to shift your vibration. Now, the only challenge with that is this. You are on a journey as a soul. On that journey, you grow and expand. You expand and grow. And that means that you are not the same tomorrow as you were yesterday. You're not going to be the same. And so the vibration that you need when you're 16, the healing vibration that you need when you're 16, is not the same as the healing vibration that you would need when you are 36 or 96. Not the same. And yet, that vibration is going to stay with you if you choose a permanent tattoo forever. Also, you don't always know. You don't always know. So where I was going, sorry, there's a little confusion in the collective. Where I was going with the previous statement is this. That vibration, that healing that you needed at 16 is going to stay with you as a permanent tattoo when you're 36. At 36, you may need something else entirely, but the vibration that is already imprinted on your body is almost like an interference. It creates an energetic interference around anything else that wants to come into your orbit. It starts repelling it a little bit, especially if what you need is somehow in non-alignment or not conducive to the energies that you already have on your body, right? So certain tattoos may actually repel one another. I don't know if you noticed. Certain tattoos, because those energies are antagonistic, may cause disease in your body just because they don't jive well together. So you need to think of your tattoos as a family. Do they live well as a family or do they not? Because the last thing is you don't want your different body parts to start fighting against one another. Like your heart wants one thing, but your head wants another. And that can happen real quick to you if you start tattooing polar opposite energies everywhere. I'm just saying, right? There are a lot of, unspoken magic around tattoos. And a lot of things to consider, I think. So here's a suggestion that is constructive. The one thing you can never predict is how a tattoo will make you feel once you actually put it on. The reason you cannot predict that is because you are not fully aware of energy and energy imprints. That is too subconscious yet for where humanity is right now. And that is why very often, the moment people get the tattoo, it already feels off. They're like, oh gosh, this did not turn out how I wanted it. It just feels off. That means that that vibration, that portal that you just opened in your skin, does not vibe with you. So what do we do? And how do we make sure that the tattoo is right for you beyond the simple pendulum exercise? You want to try a temporary one. Get yourself a temporary tattoo. Print it out. There are websites that do that. Put it exactly on the part of the body that you want it on. If you're going to make it on the back, it goes on the back. If you're going to put it on your ankle, put it on your ankle. Make sure the size is similar to what you're going to get, because size also matters. The bigger the tattoo, the larger of an imprint and an impact it has on your life and your body, on your auric field, right? The smaller the tattoo, the smaller the impact. Kind of commonsensical. So you want to wear the tattoo for 7 to 10 days, and you want to feel what changes. First, you want to feel into your body. Does your body feel good with it? Like physically, do you feel good? You want to watch your thoughts and you want to watch your emotions with that tattoo. Do you get random thoughts that you didn't get before? Destructive thoughts, perhaps? I don't know. Weird thoughts, out of the left field thoughts, uncomfortable thoughts? It could be the tattoo. The same thing with emotions. Are you in a weird emotional range all of a sudden once you put that tattoo on your shoulder? Watch for it. Almost like have a diary of your emotions and thoughts and feelings and look for patterns that are outside of the ordinary. Now, if you experience things that you love, like positive thinking, energy, great energy, amazing feelings, euphoria, you go for it. That means you found the one. That means that this is a magical symbol that's going to work in your life in more ways than one. You have found your portal. You have found your helper. Also, another thing to watch is the happening, like the events of your life. Because tattoos as portals, they attract certain events and they repel others. So watch the happening 7 to 10 days as you're wearing this tattoo. You getting happy news or sad news? What are the signs that the universe is giving you, right? Because the universe talks to you all the time. Are you starting to get like weird symbols from the universe? Maybe not a good sign. Are you seeing angels and unicorns and just angelic wings everywhere? Not wings, I meant feathers. That's great news then, right? So watch the happening because watch how you feel and how the outside world, like what the outside world reflects. And only if you like what the outside world reflects to you and how you feel inside with this tattoo, only then can you get the permanent one. And still, I would make sure that you meet your tattoo artist beforehand and get a sense for their level of vibration. And if you're comfortable with that, right? Because again, their energy is going to be imprinted in your body, whether you'd like this or not. All right, my darlings, I'll take a question around tattoos from the collective as long as it serves a greater good and the greater whole. I'm ready to receive the question. So the question is this. So I have the tattoo that I hate. I have tried getting rid of it. It's still there. I don't think it's serving me. It doesn't feel right. I've graduated from these energies. I can't remove it. What do I do? Oh boy. I mean, I've only really said twice, right? Over the past, 30 minutes that you can't really, twice or maybe 3 or 4 times, you can't really break that connection, right? You can't really get rid of it. I'm going to stand behind what I said, right? The information is still the same, you guys, despite the fact you're asking this instead of me telling you. The only thing that you can do is to minimize the impact of the portal. You can't get rid of the portal. Not like there's just no way, not until you die, right? Which is a really terrible way to try to get out of, rid of the tattoo. But there is a way to minimize its impact. And that is called the sealing ritual. Essentially, you're going to have to seal it How do you seal it? Do you guys know the Seal of Solomon? King Solomon, that is. The Seal of Solomon looks like the Star of David encircled inside of a circle. The Star of David is actually a 6-pointed star, so it's 2 triangles intertwined. Google it if you don't know what it looks like. The Seal of Solomon is a very, very potent tool. It's a very potent symbol. It is one of the sigils, actually. And that seals away any unwanted energy. You can use the stamp, the Seal of Solomon, to seal anything that is unwanted, such as mirrors, such as creepy paintings, and you can seal away the tattoos so that energetically their imprint is not as pronounced as without one. So what you would do energetically is you would close your eyes and you would imagine a golden Seal of Solomon again. The Seal of Solomon is the Star of David encircled inside of a circle. And you would imagine placing it over the tattoo in a way that covers the entire tattoo. So the entire tattoo needs to be located inside of the circle of the seal. And then I want you to imagine how this seal is literally sealing away, tugging away all of that energy from the tattoo. And it's temporarily closing that portal. It's closing that portal. Now, I wish this was forever. Unfortunately, this protection is not forever. You may need to reapply it. How frequently depends on the strength of the tattoo that you have, the strength of that symbol. Usually those, Seals of Solomon are good for at least 6 months. So it's not like you're going to have to repeat it all the time, but some maintenance and upkeep is going to be paramount. So that is the best way that I could possibly think of to minimize the impact of that tattoo and that portal. All right, I'll take one more question. So the question is, how do we select the symbol that is going to actually help, right? How can we select the symbol that is actually going to help? Well, first, you can ask yourself, what kind of energy am I missing in my life? Like, what is the kind of energy that if I had it, I would feel better, or I would feel good? Just be careful, right, with things like hope, love, health, because all of these things like words, they're all going to be like love equals pain, hope equals pain, health equals pain, etc. That is what you're going to be attracting if you're straight up just choose to put those words onto your body. So don't actually. You want to use symbols over words. Symbols over words any day of the week. And usually the higher you go, the better it is. Meaning usually like a planetary consciousness, sun, angelic beings, all of these are symbols that are a lot more forgiving, and they can, they're not quite as taxing, right? They're not going to take all that much from you. Certain deities, like certain gods and goddesses, are very benevolent. Other gods and goddesses, whoa, man. You don't want to have some of them tattooed on your body because that payback is going to be massive, massive, massive. So first you would want to ask yourself, right, going back to my answer earlier, like, what is it that you're missing in your life? And then you would try to understand what symbol can help you get it. For instance, if you're seeking love, it is actually much better to tattoo a rose, because rose is high vibrational, high frequency love flower. You're better off getting a rose tattoo than you are the word love. Things like the flower of life, like sacred geometry symbols, are actually really, really good. They're very powerful sigils, right? So you would want to look at what are the symbols that represent that which you lack, right? And that is what you would want to think about tattooing on your body. And then, of course, even if it is a rose, right, you're going to want to find multiple pictures of the rose and test them with your pendulum, and to look for the highest vibrational one possible, right? And make sure, because again, whoever painted that rose imprinted their own energies on it. If they were heartbroken when they painted that rose, that is not the rose that you want on your body if you're looking for love. I know this was a little bit vague, but I feel like it'll give pointers to enough of you to try to figure out where to go from here. If you are looking for connection with your higher self or direction in life or to find your mission, a very good symbol to tattoo on your body is actually the North Star. Stars and cosmic bodies in general are really, really forgiving and very, very aligning. And the North Star in particular, Stella Polaris, has a very terrific, a tremendous commitment towards essentially ascension of planet Earth. And so it is helping free of charge, right? So take that. All right, my darlings. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me as we talked about tattoos. I hope this was helpful and fun. I'm giving you a big virtual hug, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.